Hey, welcome to Five Lakes Garage, and we're going to start on a series of videos that is going to entail of how to build a 12 by 10 shed. Now we're going to, each major step, we're going to do a different video on each one to try to get enough detail in there that you can do it yourself. Now this is going to be my way of doing it. It is going to be mostly up to code. It's going to be on cinder blocks. We got to dig the foundation down to make it nice and firm. We don't want to have any later on down the line it starts getting kittywampus and all the other type of stuff. But today we're going to start by prepping the area. I've already started a little bit, but we need to do some more work. So initially this shed was only going to be at 8 by 12. And I thought that was going to be enough room until I started taking measurements of how big the lawnmower is, how big the splitter is, the tiller, the generator, all that type of stuff that's going to be in here. I started taking measurements of those, and we had to extend it out 2 more feet. Now I'm hoping that it's not going to be extended too far. That is going to disrupt the sunlight in the garden. So maybe later on we might have to move the garden, but we will see how that actually rolls. So what we're going to do today is we need to move this wood pile. I'm going to get some of my lumber, which, check it out. Yep, Dodge coming in again. There is block in there. There's full solid block in there as well as cinder block. And what we're gonna do is, yeah, we're gonna clear it out. We're gonna dig some holes. We're gonna put some stuff together, and I'm gonna take you along with it. So let's go. All right, well, it's closing down to the end of a really long day. Bunch of things happened today. I had all 3 kids out here busting butt. They were hammering, they were making noise, whining, crying, you know, typical stuff for kids. But we have a floor that is almost finished. It is plumb, it is square, whatever you want to call it. It is sitting on 3 skids. Because one of the things that you need to do before you build a shed like this is actually look at your building codes. In this area, with it being in the location of the yard right now, it cannot be on a foundation. It can only be freestanding. So if they need to move it for any reason, then they can. And I'm getting ready to show you how I constructed this one to be able to move it if I ever needed to. All right, so some of the things that you missed while I was working today, because I didn't film a lot of it, was the excuse me, the cinder block structures that we built to be able to support this shed. Now it's only a 10 by 12 shed, so we don't have that many blocks that we need to have, but this is what we used. So first you have a solid block. Now this is pretty solid. Now this, once you dig your hole, this is going to be the first thing you go down. Now we are lucky here that our clay pack is pretty close to the top. Just digging down like a 1/4 of an inch is a big pain in the butt. So I don't think it's going to settle that much. But with that brick being on the bottom, that's an entire surface area that is going to be pushing against the ground, and hopefully it does not sink as much. All right, on top of that, we just have a regular old cinder block. So we have it. All right, don't put it like this. Put it like this. It's a little stronger, so that, this will actually hold the support, and actually you get the height that you really need. Now on top, you don't want this thing filling with dirt, filling with the other stuff, and actually rotting out your wood. So you put on a top cap, which is another solid piece. Now these are only like $1.80 a piece over at the depot. So basically you stack all 3 of these together, sink them into the ground, and kind of go from there. Now I'm going to show you exactly what we did to start this process. Now there's a couple different ways of actually doing it. There's our way, that the one we did it here, but there's also some other ways that people do it as well. A lot of people will sit up there and set up strings. They will measure off those strings, so when they lay everything out, everything should be good to go. As far as you just measure from those strings, and it is square, it is level, and all this stuff. We didn't really use strings on this one. All I did was actually put the outer perimeter frame together, And then we just used that. We squared it up, and then we said, okay, well, this is where we need to do. I grabbed some marking paint, I marked off the ground, and then we removed the perimeter shell that we made, and then we started digging our holes. Now, as far as the height goes, what I typically do is find the tallest spot, like, because right now this is kind of on a hill. It doesn't look like much of a hill, but it is on a hill. So I took the highest point, put it to where I want the bottom of the shed to be, and then I based everything off of that. I did it from the corner back in the back. That's the highest point. So I made that height, and then I started from this side. And once I did to this side, then I went to that side and went to that side. So then once I got the four corners nice and level, which this thing is pretty good on level. Kids did a great job. They were always checking me every darn 2 minutes. Dad, I think this needs to go up a ½ inch. I think this needs to go down a ½ inch. I'm like, geez, it's okay. It's a shed, but it's okay. That's what they're learning. So once you get all four corners ready, then you put your square back on there, and then you can actually dig your holes to be able to put your supporting blocks in there. Now for your floor, let me show you what we got over going on. All right, so you can see the 4x4, it goes all the way along the length. Now what that is going to do is actually keep this on skids. So it is sitting on top of the block, and then it's, I got the 4x4, and then the 4x4 is connected to the 6x6, and the 6x6 is actually going to be the floor. I don't plan on putting too much equipment in here, just a lawnmower, stuff like that. So 2x6s are totally fine. You don't need to go anything bigger. Now, in order to connect those 2x6s, we use these guys here. These are just, let's see if I can get the shadow right. There you go. All right, so these guys here are basically metal brackets. They look just like these. All right, so those metal brackets, basically you mark off 16 inches center on center. So basically you take your tape measure all the way along, mark them off 16 inches. If you look on any particular tape measure, especially here in North America, they have red marks on them. Every red mark is 16 inches. So you just mark it, and then you go along and put in those rails. Once you put in those brackets, you can cut down your 2x6, slap it right in, nail it in, and you're good to go. Now here's some of the problems that we ran into. A lot of them were up, down, stuff like that. So grab yourself a piece of scrap that will be able to tell you exactly how far you need to go in order to put your bracket. If you're putting a lot of them in, make yourself a jig. So have it to where you have two pieces of board, you're nailed together. You stick it on there, put it there, nail it, go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one. That'll be a lot faster than what we did today, but the kids needed to learn, so we're good to go. So once all of the boards in there, even though I missed 2 brackets. I don't know, but apparently I can't count. Simple math is what's going to kill me. But so this is a 10 by 12 shed. So what I had to do was cut off 3 inches off of every 10-foot board. And the reason when you do that is because you want 10 inches all the way across. You don't want to have 10 foot 3 inches, because you had the face boards that are going to take up those 3 inches. Now, yes, they're called 2x4s, but they're not 2x4. They are, or these are not 2x6s. They are 1.5 by 5.5 or 4.5, whatever it is. But it's not true 2x6. But take that into account, cut those off, and then they should be able to slide right in. Now, tomorrow when I get back from going to the depot once again, we're going to put hurricane straps on every board that will connect the skids, the 4x4s to the 2x6s. We're going to connect all those and nail those in. I'll show you that here when we do it. And once those are attached to the 4x4, then we should be able to put the plywood down. Now the plywood, holy crap, those things are like 45 bucks a piece. So be careful on those. I did get the regular plywood. I didn't get the particle board. The particle board, if I get too much oil on it and stuff like that, it'll start to bubble up and foam up and swell and all kinds of other stuff like MDF. Don't want to use MDF on a floor. You spin on it and it poofs right up. So we're not going to do that. We're actually going to spend the money on the good plywood. So we're going to do that. And all right, so you should be able to see all that tomorrow, and hopefully by then I forgot to tell you, in between these bricks, these cinder blocks, run a bead of liquid nail concrete adhesive, and that will keep the bricks from actually coming loose and actually sliding off. We don't get a lot of hurricanes here, but you never know. This is not a foundation, like I said, so it could come off the bricks, the blocks, and then it's gonna be a pain in the butt to try to put it back on. It's doable, but it's a pain in the butt. Anyway, I'm tired. I need to clean up and go get something to eat, and then I'll come back tomorrow. And then you'll see it. Maybe it'll be daylight and I don't have to use artificial lights. But anyway, stay tuned. We'll see how it goes. Later. All right, we're back at it on day number 2, and this is what we have so far. We have all of the joists in between, and basically what those are going to do is keep the boards from flopping back and forth, and also give it strength, because when you step on that one, you're actually stepping on that one as well. As you can see, we have our skids, and we put hurricane ties on every single one of them, and on the other side, on the back side. We did the same as the middle skid and also the back skid. Now everything has been squared. In the square, you go take a tape measure from that side down to this side, and then you take another one from that side down to this side, and both of those numbers should be exactly the same. If they are not, you try to twist it to make it correct, and then if that still doesn't work, take a ratchet strap, grab it from the long side, ratchet in a little bit, put in your hurricane ties, and then once you let it go, then you should be nice and square. Now this type of stuff will dictate how well your walls go in, how well your roof goes in, because if a quarter of an inch off here will mean a quarter of an inch off on your roof. You can try to work it out as best you can, but you're still going to run into a lot of issues. But next thing we need to do is put the flooring in. We're going to get some saw horses out and actually cut those down. Now when you do some of this, if you get the stuff with the tongue and the groove, so this will be the tongue, the groove's on the other side, one fits into the other. And to do that is the main reason why you do that is to try to put your tongue and groove along opposing of your joists. And what that's doing is actually keeping the boards from flopping back and forth. If you don't, you're gonna have to put boards, 2x4s, 2x6s, or whatever, on all the corners, and we don't want to do that. Also, when you put this down, this is a 10-foot wide. Those are only 4 feet wide. So you put one down here, and then when you put your next one down, you kind of move it over. So that your seams aren't all in the same row. Like as soon as you walk in, you don't want to have a seam going all the way across. Stagger your seams. And in this particular case, I have 4 boards, and if you calculate the square footage of the 10x12 and the 4x8s, I have just enough boards to cover everything once. But keep in mind, you still need to put your tongue and your groove together. So if you have tongues on this side, grooves on that side, or whatever, when you get finished, you would want to have everything tongue and a groove together. Anyway, I think you understand what I'm saying. It's kind of hard to explain, but I'm gonna get some saw horses out. I'm gonna cut these down, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like after we are finished. So yeah. Oh, also one more thing. Underneath, this is just gonna be a shed, but if it was a really wet area, you would want to dig that out, put in some plastic, put in some gravel, trying to help with the drainage. This particular one here is actually sloped all the way down into the garden, so I'm not really that overly concerned about the drainage. It will come off the berm a little bit, but that's okay. We dug it out, and I might put a board on that side just to keep it from filling in. But overall, I think I'm really happy. I have some excellent workers helping me out. I got all the lakes out here hammering and complaining and whining. Hey, I poked my finger. Hey, I hammered my finger onto this. Oh, it's hot, my back hurts. You get the routine. It's all the same stuff that we all talk about. It's just they're more vocal. But anyway, stay tuned. We'll get these boards down. All right, well, the floor's in, and this is any indication of how well it went. So everything was square. We went in and put all the hurricane ties in, and apparently when we did all that, it got out of square. Not by much, but enough for me to be annoyed with it. Not only that, this plywood, which is $45 a piece, yeah, it's garbage. Absolute garbage. It's supposed to be tongue and groove flooring. Went in and paid the extra to have the actual plywood instead of the chipboard, and the gaps are horrible, the tongue's horrible, the groove's horrible. Yeah, I would not recommend doing this one again unless you find some decent wood. And also, yeah, very annoying. This is my second one because I'm tired of it. Anyway, this is about it for this one. Check out for volume 2 when we actually put the walls up. Hopefully that will be coming out shortly after this one is. So anyway, if you have any questions, just hit me on the comments. If I did something wrong, please let me know, because I believe there are a few things wrong with this thing, and I don't think it's going to fall over. I don't think it's going to move anywhere, but the craftsmanship is a little questionable on certain areas. Now, if you remember what I said earlier about the tongue and groove, and that you want to try to puzzle it around in order for all the tongues to hit the grooves and all that type of stuff, move things around. I even took a piece of paper and tried to figure out how to get it done, and I could not get it done. I needed one more board, but it's okay because I had some extra 2x6, and on a 4-foot section I actually had to put connectors in between the floor joists, which was fine. We did that. It's a whole lot cheaper than buying another board at 45 bucks a piece. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm a little annoyed with that. Yeah. So anyway, hit it with the comments. Join me for phase 2 when we put walls up, and it should be good to go. Anyway, take it easy, have fun. Later.